Hi, and welcome back to TikTok Tuesday. So this week's episode is a part 2 of last week's episode, which is Comorbidities and Tourette Syndrome. So just to recap, comorbidities are co-occurring conditions with a primary condition. So for our case, it's Tourette Syndrome, and I'm talking about all the different comorbidities that can occur within Tourette Syndrome. I know I left off on obsessive compulsive disorder, so I'm going to recap on that one from the beginning, just the beginning of that disorder, not from the beginning of the episode from last week, just because I know I cut off in the middle because I was running out of time. This one should be a lot shorter, by the way, like half as long as it was last week. So obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD, is a disorder characterized by recurrent uncontrollable thoughts or obsessions and behaviors or compulsions that a person feels the need to repeat over and over daily, at least 1 hour a day. So some examples of, or some common obsessions or thoughts: recurring, intrusive, unwanted thoughts, fear of germs, or germophobia is what that is, or contamination. That's a big one for me. I don't know if I said that last week or not, but I can't have anything dirty on me ever. So if I haven't showered, I'm not going to put clean clothes on my gross body, or I'm also not going to throw clean clothes on the floor. If there are clean clothes on the floor, they're dirty. It's like a really big thing for me, especially living in a residence hall, an all women's residence hall. So when I go and do laundry, that one's a hard one for me because I'm very persistent about please do not touch my clothes, because other people don't always consider. I try to consider other people's clothes if I move them, but I don't like other people touching my clothes or moving my clothes out from the washer or the dryer, because things may fall on the floor. Things may fall on the gross floor, and I'm clenching my fist because it really bothers me a lot. And then place it back, and then I would never know. Things like that just get me in like a rage. I know I talked about rage last week. That's just one example. More would be unwanted, forbidden, or taboo thoughts that are sexual or religious based or harmful. And a lot of people really don't like talking about those especially. I feel like some of these people are more willing to talk about, but the ones that are aggressive or completely against society or your own moral beliefs, people will just bury them deep inside themselves. And I mean, that's natural. That's very natural for us as humans, and that's why they come out in all of these behaviors, these compulsive behaviors. So thoughts related to sex, religion, harm, aggressive thoughts towards others or yourself, and symmetry, organization, and perfection. So those are just some common examples, usual ones. I haven't come across any other types except maybe future related, or just obsessing over the future. I say that because I do that. So some also examples of compulsions. Now, there's a lot, so I can't name every single type of behavior that someone exhibits because it can be anything. So excessive cleaning and rearranging, hand washing, organization, those are the ones that you hear about a lot, or at least that's what is presented in media a lot. When I say OCD is misrepresented, I do a lot in that one. But I mean, some people are like that. So I understand that. Some others are repetitive checking, and that's a big one as well for me, and compulsive counting. So I wanted to mention this, I don't know if I have time, but there's an HBO show, I think it's already finished, show called Girls, and the main character, Lena Dunham, I think her character's name is Hannah. They exhibited OCD perfectly, I would say, in this. I'm not going to recommend watching it or anything because it's a very inappropriate adult show. And I also don't care for Lena Dunham that much, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, so her character is a compulsive counter, and hers is counting to 8. She has to do things 8 times in different, like she had a Q-tip and she had to clean her ear out 8 times in both ears. So that was a very good example. Another great example would be just Friends. The way they portray Monica, it's a little bit stereotypical, but can be very true. There's an episode where Courtney Cox's character is lying in bed and she can't get the thought out of her mind that my shoes are in the other room and they're not in the place where they need to be. I should move them, but they'll know. And just because she keeps thinking about that, that's an example. I think I said compulsive counting. Yeah, just a lot of checking and everything. Again, symmetry for me is a big one. So personally, walking on campus, we have tactile dots for blind people on, you know, each side of the sidewalk so they know when they're crossing the street. I have to have one foot touching both of them. So I have to measure my walking correctly so I know that my left foot first, by the way. My left foot will hit the dots first and I can feel them. And then when I get to the next one, my right foot will hit it. And if there's only one, I have to stop at my tracks and make sure both my feet touch it, because otherwise it feels like there's like a weight almost, or the lack of this sensation. It also comes out for me in high fives. If someone gives me a big high five where it leaves my hand tingling, they have to make it even. So I'm getting a little off track, real personal right now, so I'm gonna keep going from OCD. Oh no, I had some more on OCD. Sorry, I forgot. I wanted to but also wanted to mention some body-related OCD behaviors. They're called body-focused repetitive behaviors. And one of them I mentioned in statistics, that episode, dermatillomania, which is, not dermatillomania, trichotillomania, my bad, which is hair pulling, consistent hair pulling. Another one is dermatillomania, which, if you know what the prefix derm is, and you know it's skin, so, or also known as excoriation disorder, skin picking. Another one is dermatophagia, which is skin biting. Onychophagia, nail biting. Those can also go hand in hand when biting your nails if you bite your skin with it. I tend to do that sometimes, but I don't know if it's OCD or not. I haven't figured that one out, because I tend to bite my nails under stress. Actually, I did it a lot when I was little, but I'm doing it less and less now. But as you can see, my nails are down to the nub. Getting fake nails helps me a lot, actually. Anyway, so, and I know a lot of other people bite their nails, but this is, again, compulsive. Rhinotillexomania, which is nose picking. And I know everyone picks their nose as normal, but this is a compulsive, obsessive behavior. All right, so after OCD, we've got behavioral problems. So explosive outbursts, again, these can be symptoms of Tourette syndrome, especially growing up when you're little, and you're still trying to regulate your own emotions even. So this is just adding to it. Oppositional or defiant, well, I don't want to say, oppositional defiant disorder, ODD, which is, not trying to make this offensive. Oppositional defiant disorder is defined as like outrage, outburst, and disruption can sometimes come from conduct disorder and then lead to antisocial personality disorder, which is, again, I don't want to get offensive, but antisocial personality disorder is the sociopathic disorder, pretty much. But again, we're not talking about that. That's way different. You can, though, have these behaviors due to feeling overwhelmed in class, at home, and they'll come out in these outrage, outburst. Another behavioral problem, immaturity and developmental delays, refusing support or accommodations due to the fear of being singled out by their peers. Learning disabilities, an example would be dyslexia, so difficulty reading, and then handwriting difficulties can go under learning difficulties as well. Dysgraphia, Dysgraphia, by definition, is ineligible handwriting, inconsistent spacing, poor spatial planning on paper, poor spelling, and difficulty composing writing, as well as thinking and writing at the same time. Difficulty reading and writing and comprehension can be, I would say, pretty common, again, as a child growing up with Tourette syndrome, because you're still, again, trying to regulate everything that's going on in yourself, and you don't have that ability yet. After that, we have sleep problems. I would say these are pretty common as well. I'm not quite sure the percentage or the statistics on these common, or how common they are, but from personal experience, it's all I can really say. So insomnia. Insomnia is not a disorder or a disability, and I hear a lot of people saying, I got insomnia, I have insomnia, oh, I'm just an insomniac. It's not something by itself. It's never like its own thing. It's always a symptom of something bigger or something greater. So stress, I mean, anything you can have, like, insomnia is a difficulty or the inability to sleep. I should have defined that. Anybody can have insomnia because life happens, but that can be a symptom with Tourette syndrome. Nightmares, even more severely, night terrors sometimes, which is, again, usually something that comes from something else. Sleepwalking, sleep talking, social communication deficits. More severely, social communication disorder, maybe, but that social communication disorder, or SCD, is having difficulty communicating with others, can be socially awkward, communicating, or even, like in the most extreme cases, nonverbal. You see a lot more of this in autism spectrum disorder, but you can see it in Tourette's as well, or a little less severe than that. Transition problems. So I feel like this is a big one for me, mainly. So I have change, basically, having problems transitioning from one thing to the next, or change. And it can be big things, but it can be little things too. So like one for me would be when I found out that for some reason my brother wasn't going to be graduating at the same time as me. For me, I lay things out in a timeline. And I said, okay, perfect. If you do this, then we can do this, and blah, 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 and everything, and plan out everything. I'm a big planner. And then I found out, oh, he's going to be graduating in one more semester. And then it kind of just crumbled in my mind. Like, I got to start over, and all of a sudden, I don't know how to handle this. And it's just something as minuscule as that. But it can be big things, like I said, graduating, going from the 3rd grade to the 4th grade, from junior high to high school, to, I was going to say going outside, but that's an extreme. The birth of a sibling, big changes too. So that's what I mean when I say transition problems. And last on this list is going to be executive functioning deficits. So when I mean executive functioning, I mean things that you learn to do as you grow older, as an adult. So time management, problem solving. I know a lot of people have trouble with time management in their adulthood anyway, but this can be an issue when you have an underlying condition like Tourette syndrome. So problems with time management, trouble problem solving, planning and organization, and then filtering out words and actions are just a few examples. So that's all I have for today. I guess it's not as short as I thought it was going to be. But I'm very excited for it next week. I'm hoping that next week's episode will be about stigma and misrepresentation, misconceptions, and stereotypes on Tourette syndrome, because I'm currently writing a very big, very hard, long capstone paper for my, senior seminar. And it's about the history of the stigma in Tourette syndrome and why. Anyway, I would like to get into that more next week, and hopefully I'll have this paper done and I can talk a lot more about it with y'all next week. I'm very excited, and I hope y'all have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Bye.